Hello, this is the video for Wednesday, December 9th. The topic for our class today, you can see here, is that the book ends. We finished the book today. So that's the big goal. If you're watching this video, by the end of it, by the end of today anyway, try to finish up the book. We talked about two new terms, crisis and climax. And then we looked at the kernel sentence, the book ends. So that's the sentence that you're meant to expand. So taking you through some of the slides to help contextualize these terms and then what happens at the end of the book. On day 17, we are really considering the narrative elements. This is all reading SOL stuff, so knowing these terms help on that test. The reading SOL wants you to know narrative elements as a concept, and that just means the words for the parts of a story. Today, we talked about the peak of that triangle right there in the middle. The middle, I guess, as they put it, though really it could be towards the end. What they should say instead of middle is most intense. That's the climax of the book. And then crisis is a term we looked at, which on the chart here would be right before the peak of the triangle. So for your notes, climax is the most exciting, the most intense part of the book. Crisis, which usually happens right before the climax, is the do or die moment where the protagonist has to gather all of their strength, their ingenuity, their resourcefulness, and their courage in order to face off with that antagonist. So what are these in the book? And I'll talk about what we sort of discussed in class. I presented what I thought the crisis was, and then classmates tried to guess at what the climax might be, in their own opinion, because it is all about what's most intense for you. Okay, but I'm stopping here for a minute because we're about to give a bunch of spoilers. If you haven't finished the book, pause the video and go finish the book and then come back. Otherwise, you're going to hear everything that happens and it takes away all the fun. So together, we read the peak of the action from yesterday's assignment, Lord Help Me, the snakes are coming out of the man's ribcage, all the way to the end of the action, which is where she held my hand and wept. The book keeps going after that for a few more pages. So I'm asking you to now go finish the book and come back to this video. Okay, you should only be watching this if you've finished the book. So I'll present the crisis, what I believe the crisis to be, and then I asked your classmates to present the climax, so I'll tell you what they said. There is not exactly a right answer with either of these. This is maybe an art that we have to get better at, but it's not a science. So if the crisis is the do or die moment where the protagonist has to summon everything they've got to face off with the antagonist, then in the book, that is the last moment where Maddie has to face off with Tom Chaney. And he is trying to hurt her. She is defenseless, has no one else around. She takes out her revolver, father's revolver, and she shoots a bullet into his head. As we see, it doesn't actually kill him. This man cannot be killed easily, but it at least takes him out and protects her from him and does a fatal blow in many ways because it weakens him so much he can't fight when Brewster comes to finish him off. So that's the crisis. Maddie sees her antagonist, she shoots at him, and that it begins the climax because, of course, it is the backfire of the gun that careens her backwards into the pit where she is stuck with a bunch of rattlers. And that is what a lot of people said the climax was, that moment where she's in the pit. That's the most intense moment. We don't know if she'll get out. She's alone. No one can hear her. Maybe that is the climax. Other classmates said, no, it's the moment where LaBeef and Rooster find her, and Rooster comes down into the pit to carry her out. And little Blackie, the horse, pulls the rope to get everyone out of the pit. That's the most intense moment. And yet other people said, no, the most intense moment is when she's riding back on the horse, on little Blackie, and they're trying to save her life because in this time she would die of that snake bite if she couldn't get to a doctor. So all of those could be climax moments. that most intense is depending on how you read it. We will ask this question again after we watch the film, because the film takes a position and absolutely believes that one moment of those is the most climactic. So to be continued. But anyway, that's what we discussed in class today after we watched the trailer. So this is Wednesday. We're going to begin the film on Thursday. I encourage you to check out the trailer beforehand on your own, just to have a sense of how the movie is going to be done. And your kernel sentence for today, which I didn't write in the, I forgot to write it in here. So I'll just go back to our agenda slide. It's the book ends. The book ends. So that's your kernel sentence that you're meant to expand in your BGD for Wednesday the 9th.